Happy Friday to everybody in Soonerville. Welcome to the Sooner Surge podcast, the podcast that tells it like it is. We are live here on Friday night on a different time. Usually it's 9:30. Tonight it's 10. Had other things that prohibited us from being on at 9:30, but we're here with you at 10 o'clock. You have the first ever 12-team playoff game going on. Honestly, it's left a lot to be desired. The Kurt Signetti talk probably has been squashed after people watch this game. But what's up, Jay?
Hey, it's been a lackluster performance, I think you could say. The hype leading up to it all day, game day was great. Everything was great, but just hasn't been a good performance by Indiana. And Notre Dame's a good team. I know Notre Dame hasn't played a whole lot of people, but they're a really good team. It's 20-3 Notre Dame. They can run the ball and they have a good defense. Usually when that happens, pretty good success rate. If you can run the ball and you can play defense. So,
hey, Michael, and by the way, Chester, thanks for gifting a Sooner Surge membership tonight. We'll see who got it. 10 p.m. is not the new permanent time, Chester. Just tonight.
Just tonight. Hey, I got to read something for you. I saw this today, and I think a lot of people knew that Indiana's schedule was weak. But let me read something for you. You ready for this? They lost to the fourth-ranked Big Ten team, Ohio State, by 23 points, okay? Here's who they beat in the Big Ten. The 7th-ranked team in the Big Ten, the 10th-ranked Big Ten team, the 12th-ranked Big Ten team, the 13th-ranked Big Ten team, the 14th-ranked Big Ten team, the 16th-ranked Big Ten team, the 17th-ranked Big Ten team. They didn't beat anybody.
Hey, but you heard Signetti. The reason he said what he said is he knew that that's the only excitement there was going to be tonight. Sooner fan, we won't be able to change it tonight because with Jay's family, my family, our kids' activities, it's impossible to get on before 9 o'clock usually. But
yeah, it's too hard with families. We're going to keep it at 9:30 for sure. Hey, Greg, you're right. I think Ohio State kind of opened it up to what you thought this might be. I think Notre Dame's winning the whole thing, though. And I know a lot of people disagree with that. I think they are, Germ.
I got boys. Look, I like teams who can run the ball really well. Riley Leonard is not impressive.
He's not like they're not an offense just going to throw it down the field and do all that. That's not always a team that wins, though, Germ. Sometimes if you run the ball really well and control the line of scrimmage, you win games. That's novel thought there. Point. Novel thought. I don't think Georgia will beat Notre Dame.
They'll struggle. They'll struggle. If they win, it'll be tight. But, I mean, I think it'll be close. I don't know who's going to win that game, Jay. Carson Beck being out obviously isn't helping.
Dakota Mateer's not playing in the bowl game. Either one. I mean, he's done. He's done for the year. He's waiting until next.
I was talking to someone who likes Ohio State, really follows them, and they offered a guy from Central Connecticut State today on the O-line.
Who did?
Had a guy in for a visit.
Who?
Ohio State.
Who cares? That's what I would have to say to that. Benjamin Banner says, did you see? Yeah, that's a typo. He's 259. It was a typo, Benjamin. That's all that was.
Typo. He responded to it as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I won't say what he said.
No news today. No news today, Germ.
I'm actually shocked. I'm shocked that Jaron Bradley is not a Sooner yet. Shocked.
Yeah, OU offered a couple guys, one from Kennesaw State and one from, I think, going to be going to Pittsburgh State or something like that. UC, I don't know. Nothing that's just, I think, super excited about. I mean, I don't know anything about him. I did see the Miami tight end there, one of the Miami tight end in the portal, who also, he did play with Stone and Jaden Jackson at IMG Academy in 2023. Who knows if OU offer, if he would even consider it. I don't know. I'm just throwing the name out there because I saw him at the portal. So, hey, I got to say something, though. This playoff, they need to change it by next year. They got to change one thing. Do you know what it is? Two things. Has to be done. You got to do away with buys for the conference championship. You got to seed them 1 through 12, and the top 4 get a bye. That's one thing you have to change. You top 12, no matter what, top 12. Yeah, you win your conference, you get in, but you're not ranked 4 or 3 or whatever. just 1 through 12 seeded. The other thing is this. The first 2 rounds have to be home games because right now you got these 4 playing at home. And you know what? Then next week, they go play the 4 teams that got to bye who don't get a home game. They got to go play at a neutral site. No. The top 4 get a home game, period. So you get a bye. Next week, you're hosting the 8-round matchups. You're hosting them as the first 4 that got to bye. You got to be fair to these teams that Oregon goes undefeated. They need a home game next week, period. End of discussion. They need a home game. It's stupid. Why do you have all these other teams getting home games? Oregon needs a home game. What's so hard about that? Like the round of 8, the top 4 get home games.
Well,
go to
Greg say the reward is you get a bye. The rewards you get a bye.
It doesn't matter. They need a home game. I like the home game. I like the way they do these home games. I think it's great for the universities, but the top 4 should get one too. So just have the final 4 at neutral site. It'd be easy.
Hey,
easy fix.
How many players though you landed out of the portal? 7?
Have they landed?
Correct.
7 or 8. I can't remember off the top of my head.
One was Stanford. One was an SEC foe in Arkansas.
It might be 7. I think it's
7.
one
was an SEC. So you have Stanford, you have Arkansas. I'm just going through the list of where every guy was from. Western Carolina.
Yeah, Western Carolina. Yeah.
Southern Illinois. Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm missing a couple, but
what do you mean? And where do you?
I'm just trying to figure out how many is from FCS and how many is from bigger schools, Jade. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, Johnson, I agree. Strength of schedule. South Carolina should have been in. I mean, you can look at it now, but they're not taking the 12 best. They're taking the most deserving is what they're trying to do, I think. And until that gets fixed.
I'm not sure you're right on that.
What do you mean?
I think South Carolina was deserving.
Well,
I think to play a harder schedule, that should be more deserving.
I agree because Indiana just, it's not a good game tonight. And you know what? I'd also be for the NFL model. You get a home game all the way up to the final game. Whoever's the higher seed gets a home game. All the way to the final. Why?
You can't.
Why?
I don't. Let me rephrase. They won't.
I know those will never allow. I know. I'm just saying.
Too much power.
Baylor Alexander, Oregon. That's his 4th school in 4 years, I think. So,
yeah, the Pitt State tight end is probably who they end up with.
I don't know about that. I think Carson Kent apparently visited today off his Instagram page. He was there. I don't. Yeah, you can't do that now that I think of with the Bows, but you could do Final 4 at those. That's what you should do. I don't know on the tight end guys. I don't think OU is going to land a big tight end this portal season. Doesn't look like it. So that is what you have right now. So you move on with it. Hey, if anybody did not get a chance to go watch the Ben Arbuckle interview on Sooner Scoop, I would encourage everybody to watch it. It's like a 25-minute interview with Joe Castiglione Jr. and George Stoia. I thought it was a really good interview, some cool stuff. He sounds like he loves for his quarterbacks to audible. He gives them free reign, basically. If they see something they don't like, they can change it, which tells me he develops the quarterback to know what to look for. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and hey, Sooner fan, I see comment after comment after comment after comment after comment about resorting to Pitt State players or FCS, or some will pan out, some won't. I don't know. I mean, you can go look at, and what's interesting, Sooner fan, is look at the guys that left OU. They went to worse teams. They went to worse teams.
What I would love, I mentioned this in Discord. I would love to know. I haven't looked it up, but maybe people, I know the Surgeaholics, they know stuff off the top of their head. They're fast with knowledge on this, but give me 2 players that left OU since the portal era opened that just absolutely became really good at wherever they went. You could say Dylan Gabriel left and he got good or bad. I mean, he was really good at Oregon. Okay, that's one. Give me another one. We could be here a while. We could be here a while.
Yeah. DG's probably the only one, Jay.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Now, I think the guy that went to NC State.
Well, Caleb Williams.
What about Tawee Walker? Did he get any better?
He had a good season.
So, but those two guys were both. Those two guys, what were they doing in Oklahoma? They were producing. I'm talking about, what about guys that didn't really do much at Oklahoma? They usually go to smaller schools.
Farouk did stuff at OU, and he's going to Maryland.
Yeah, but he's from D.C. That did not surprise me at all.
Right.
He's
Ron Wood says Theo Weiss. Yeah, Theo Weiss.
Theo Weiss is a good one. Okay, I knew y'all.
He was also producing at OU.
Yeah, but I don't even count Caleb just because. I mean, that was portal area. What was that, year one of the portal thing? Was that year one of portal, or was it before that? I'm trying to think. And the reason I don't count Caleb is
there's a good one. Trey Sermon.
Trey
Sermon.
Yeah, but I'm talking more of the recent portal era. But I see that. I see that one. But hey, and yeah, Chad, that's a good one. The reason I don't count Caleb is he left because the coach left. I'm talking about guys that like portaled out of Oklahoma with the current staff. You know what I mean? Like they decided to go play somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is it regardless of where you came from school wise, it's going to depend on how you play. I mean, how much you play and how you produce.
Yeah, but I get it, Jerm. Here's my kind of devil's advocate to that. The guys that come from, look at me that way, I see you squinting your eyes. The guys that come from smaller schools, why were they at smaller schools to begin with? Why? What's the reason?
They weren't as highly touted in high school.
Exactly. So they weren't as talented?
Jay, some of them play out, some of them don't. It's a fact.
I agree.
Hey, Michael, Trey Harris, one of the best receivers in the SEC, was a 2-star. And I've seen 5 stars.
No. Listen, I'm with you, and I'm with you, Jerm. And I understand if Daniel's saying, yeah, you can hit on some. No, I understand you can hit on some. I get that.
Mixed bag.
Sometimes there are. I just think the majority of the time is probably not. I think there are instances where you get good players. Yes, I would agree with that. I just think.
Jay, give me some. I want you to name some guys. I mean, Caleb Downs left Bama and went to Ohio State. But name some of the Bama guys that have left and went elsewhere and just panned out great. It's a mixed bag.
I agree. And James is right with this, too. There's also 5 stars that go the other way.
It's a mixed bag.
It is. But I think if you're saying, are you better off getting from big-time schools, big-time players like 4 or 5 stars or guys that weren't highly recruited, wouldn't you say you'd rather have the guys that were highly touted? That's all.
And I also want to say that everyone on here is funneling everything they know through what OU is doing in the portal. But I promise you, a lot of guys, and if you go look at portal ratings, there's a lot of small school guys that are ranked top 15 in the portal right now. There just are.
I understand that, and I see what Michael says too. There is a direct correlation. I mean, you got to have a bunch of really good players on your team.
I'm talking about portal guys. I'm talking about portal guys.
And I don't think that's what Daniel was saying. I think Daniel was saying it kind of like you, Jerm, is like
it's a mixed bag.
You can get some good players from smaller schools. It can happen. Now,
there's a lot of small.
To me, though, if that's Jerm, but to me, if that's all you're getting, then I think you're in trouble.
Okay, but there's also, if they're a really good player, Jay, at a big time program, they're not leaving unless they're not going to be playing ever.
And I agree, and I think that goes along with what Eric's saying, Jerm, is right now the portal, you may have a few players that are really good, but I think most of the portal is guys just trying to do something else.
Well, then every school, Jay, is going after mid guys, is my point. It's not just OU's the only team going after mid-major guys. That's a bad case.
I didn't say that, Jerm. I agree with you.
I'm not saying you.
My whole argument is
Sooner fan in the chat keeps saying all they do is go after FCS. That's all they're going after. No, they're not.
To be honest, there's not a whole lot out there.
I agree.
So you got to win with the high school recruiting.
Hey, Eric, good. They got Bauer Sharp. Congrats. Congrats, Eric.
No, and I agree, Daniel. I agree with what you're saying here, Daniel. There are guys like that, but Khalil Mack was a superstar. I don't think. I think he's a.
It's a mixed bag.
It is a mixed bag, but I think more often it's you're better. I mean, obviously with the highly talented guys. I think. I mean, look at Travis Hunter. He went to an HBCU. He won the Heisman. Now that doesn't mean anything. He was a 5-star recruit.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what Khalil Mack was out of high school. Was he a 2-star? I don't know. I don't know anything about him out of high school.
Yeah. I'm always ready to yell, Eric. I'm not yelling.
Yeah, Eric was agreeing with you.
I was going after what Sooner fan was saying personally, but
what was I going to get to here? Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. Portal works well if you drop a bag. Hey, I don't know. I really don't know about that. I just think
2-star.
Here's what I think. He's 2-star. So yeah. So Daniel, you're right on a guy like that. He really climbed. Same with Cam Ward. Cam Ward was a 0-star. So it happens. I get it. Daniel, I totally agree that it happens sometimes. I'm just saying you don't want it to be your end all. You know what I mean? Like that. You can hit on some of those guys. And I think here's the thing as OU right now. As a fan watching OU the last few years, they haven't done well in the portal. That's why everybody's like, what are they doing? They haven't really like performed that well in the portal.
Hey, Danny, Colorado proved portal works. In what way? I think Deion works. When you say portal works, what do you? I'm curious, Danny. Maybe when we open the phone lines, you can call in and explain on that because I don't know if it's about.
Well, real quick on the Colorado stuff, it's a totally different situation because of this. Like you said,
Deion.
It's Deion Sanders because Deion. He gets probably the best of the best in the portal because he's Deion, and he probably pays good money now.
Danny, Indiana proved no. Big Ten scheduling proved portal works for Indiana. Come on, if Indiana was in the SEC, they would be middle of the pack at best. Come on.
And KB's dead right on this. You know how you have weak draft classes? I don't think this was a very good portal class. I don't think it was a very good portal class. You still got Zachariah Branch out there, who's the kind of highlight guy right now. But guys, OU did get one of the top players in the portal. So I will say that, John Mateer, and that's a big deal.
Hey, Tone Loke, I'm going to say what I said. I love Deion Sanders. I was a
huge
Dallas Cowboys fan.
Where's your sign? Do you have it?
I'm not saying he hasn't even made a playoff, Jay. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah,
has he turned Colorado's narrative around? Yes, but to me, until he can at least make a Big 12 championship, I'm not going to say he's it yet.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Ohio State job, they fire Ryan Day. Has Deion done enough to get that job? I think he has.
Jay, it doesn't matter what Deion's record is. His name's Deion. People will hire him just selling tickets.
That's what I'm saying. If he's done enough to get a big-time job, then he's coaching well.
By the way, I don't know why we're comparing. I never mentioned BB. I'm talking about Deion Sanders. It's funny. It's funny to me how we're talking about Deion Sanders and people got to talk about BB. What are we like? Seriously?
Dave, appreciate the super. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Now, KJ says we seem to be getting the guys we need. Like it or not, we have I agree, KJ. You do have a budget. They did get, when you think about the guy they really wanted to get was Mateer. They got him.
Hey, Chuck, look, you can call me terrible. I don't really care. I just gave him respect. I said he can go anywhere he wants because he's Deion. My goodness. What else can I say? I said his name translates into anyone wanting him. That's pretty much the highest respect you can get. All I'm saying is he hasn't made a conference championship game yet. He had the best player in the country.
2 of the top 3, probably.
2 of the top 4 or 5 in the country. He didn't make the Big 12 championship yet. I can say hold your horses.
There you go, Jeremy. You can say it. If KJ says if don't grab a tight end, I'll assume it means we're good with what we got, which I don't think so, KJ. I don't think there's guys that are really, who is the guy I thought they might have a chance to get, and then he chose A&M and he wasn't even that highly touted. He chose A&M over OU.
Hey, Chuck, I'm going to respond because first off, what do you mean what's wrong with me? I wasn't talking about BV. The comment was about Deion Sanders in the portal. And then all I said is, why are we talking about BV right now? That wasn't even the comparison, man.
Hey, and by the way, the whole guys are from smaller schools. I will say this, and I will say that next year we may all be sitting there thinking, "Wow, these guys they got out of the portal are really good." I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying the argument. Do you want 5 stars versus 1 stars? I think most people would say 5 stars. Now that doesn't mean they're not going to be any good.
I want someone in the chat when it's time to call and explain something. Because I know there's a few people in the chat that have already mentioned Bauer Sharp. Okay? How can you just totally lambaste Bauer Sharp all year and then say LSU goes and gets big time guys?
Nobody said that.
Someone mentioned Bauer Sharp to LSU earlier.
But they weren't saying they got a good one.
They were saying they went after guys from SEC schools like OU.
No, they weren't.
That's what the point was.
No, that's not what they were saying.
Okay. Explain why people said Bauer Sharp to LSU.
Bauer Sharp's a Southeast Louisiana guy. He's not an OU guy. I mean,
I'm not talking to you, Jay. I'm saying, what were people meaning by Bauer Sharp? LSU got Bauer Sharp.
Hey, and KJ, I do like the wide receiver room. I do. I like what they did at wide receiver in the portal. I do, because I will say this, out of all the positions in the portal, wide receiver to me is, you do not need, go look at who had the best wide receiver in the SEC.
Arkansas.
No, but who had their actual best guy? Ryan Williams is the best receiver.
Not the second half of the year. He wasn't very good.
They didn't make the playoff, is what I'm saying.
He wasn't very good the second half of the year.
What I'm saying is, if you have a good offensive coordinator, you get good guys, they can be great in your system. You don't have to have 2 or 3 CeeDee Lambs on your team. You don't. That I think that's one position where you look at what they got in the portal. I like it. I really do. I liked it. What I don't like right now in the portal, tight end. I mean, I think they need a better tight end. I like John Mateer too. I think that's a good guy in the portal.
And I see the comment about LSU. And if people are saying Nick Anderson's going to be the guy there, is it the same people that said Nick Anderson wasn't very good at OU?
Dave's asking, Dave says, do you think OU will get another quarterback? Yes. They'll get a guy to be a 4-string quarterback. They have to get one more guy. And just be ready. It's not going to be a big-time guy. So just be ready, guys. Don't come, oh, my gosh, why are they getting a guy from wherever? It's going to be a guy that's just to fill a spot. You need another quarterback. So just be ready for that when that happens.
Yeah. Ron says, look at Drake Stoops. Hey, I think it's time to open the phone lines.
Go for it.
Let's open the lines.
Already open, Hunter says, Jerm.
Sorry, I didn't even.
Yeah, Michael, I saw this, which now everyone's going to be ready for this. He's not going to play at OU probably. He's going to be a 4-string, but he was the number 1 quarterback in FCS. So, I mean, sorry. But
it is. But, Jay.
Doesn't mean anything.
Jay, where are you going to go get a 3rd or 4th string quarterback and it not be a small school guy?
Hey, it's tough enough to get a backup quarterback with them sitting the bench these days. But you know what? Ben Arbuckle said something today that they were talking about John Mateer, and he said, what's been the biggest part of his development? He said, sitting 2 years behind Cam Ward. He said that really helped him. And Michael Hawkins, I would assume, is probably going to be sitting for a year. And I think that's how I think as a quarterback, that's how you get better. What you saw last year, throwing guys out there as freshmen, it does not really help you, in my opinion. It doesn't. And look at Arch Manning. He's sitting for 2 years. He's going to be really good when he plays.
What is the score in the development? What's the score in the Indiana game?
I don't care. The game's blown out. Why would I care?
Hunter's acting like they're coming back.
27-11. What's up, Cade?
What's going on, guys? How are y'all doing?
How are you, man?
Good to hear from you.
Oh, pretty good. Well, first of all, I really think that the portal with some of these bigger name guys is probably going to open up a lot more when the playoffs are over, since it's 12 teams now. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are going to wait and try to get a national championship or whatever. But it almost feels like there has to be some sort of plan, because, and in my opinion, it either involves Joe John's out and they know that he's just staying to coach the bowl game and they're going to go a different direction, which the rumor has been LePac, which I don't know. And then, or maybe they just want to get a guy that's for depth and they like what they got. What do y'all think?
Well, Jay, did you hear the Arbuckle interview? Because I saw Jen say something earlier that sounds like Arbuckle really likes Joe John Finley.
Well, Jerem, stop.
What else is he going to say?
What he gonna say?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
what else is he going to say?
Yeah, I don't know. He might love you, Jerem. I don't know, but I do like what Arbuckle said about the tight ends. He said we have great bodies in there. That's all he really knows right now. Is they got Caden Helms and Von Mitchell have good-looking tight end bodies. Now
percentage chance Joe John Finley is the coach at tight ends next year. I say 15%.
Yeah, pretty low in my opinion.
But you know what? Hey, Cade, you mentioned tight end, and I know right now there's not a lot in the portal, but to me,
there really ain't.
It wouldn't do them a lot of good, in my opinion, to go get a guy that's a freshman. Or to me, if you're going to bring somebody in that's got experience playing that can help you out right away.
I agree, but I don't see that in.
There's not much out there right now. You're right.
And but what I was going to say is I seen a podcast or something today, and they said that I think it was Parker Thune actually said that one of the recruits didn't even talk or see Joe John Finley when he was there for a visit. So I mean, is he even recruited?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been a good recruiter, Cade. That's just a fact, and maybe there's something to this with what you mentioned. And look, OU, I'm sure right now, wherever BV is at his house watching the college football playoff because they're not in it, wherever he's at, he knows if Joe John Finley's coming back next year.
Yeah, he has to have a plan for that.
So what I'm saying is, if there's been talk that he's not coming back and he's just going to coach the bowl game, maybe they haven't offered anyone because maybe they know the guy they want is LePac and that he may bring someone with him. So why go offer anyone right now?
Yeah, possibly so. Hey, thanks for the call, Cade. Appreciate it. Hey, before we get to Platoon 20, I want to say something to answer this question from Chuck. It says about players right away. Well, I think certain positions you can play right away, like defensive end, defensive line. I think you can play earlier. I think it's very hard as an offensive lineman. I think it's very hard as a quarterback. Okay, that's what I would say. Let's get to Platoon 20.
Hey guys, what's up? I had a question for you about the new rules for roster sizes. So I heard it's supposed to go to 105.
Yeah.
Are there per year limits on how many scholarships we give every year, or is it just total for everybody on your roster? How does that work?
85 scholarships.
Okay, but you don't have
total roster.
Okay, but you don't have to pare down the roster until like August or June
Correct.
Or something, right?
August,
Correct.
I believe.
And I think Hunter said that right now it stands we have to cut, was it 8 guys or something like that? Or how many do we have to cut to get to that limit?
I think now you're at Hunter, you'll have to drop it in here. We talked about it today. I can't remember the number. Hunter will drop it in here, but they're definitely they're going to lose some more non-scholarship guys for sure.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen until later, right? They're not going to do any cuts right now. I mean,
well,
they're going to see how they go through practice and stuff first, right? Or
maybe, but if you're those guys that are down there in the non-scholarship, you would think they'd want to go find a school like as soon as possible. So I don't know how that's going to work. It's probably up to the player and up to the coach if they decide to process them out or if they decide they're just going to leave, I mean, okay. I don't know. So Hunter says they're 2 to 3 over, still have 7 to 8 scholarships to give. So if they give 7 to 8 scholarships, if they give 7 to 8 more scholarships, that means they're going to have to cut about 10 from the non-scholarship. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks, Platone. Yeah, I mean, there's some wiggle room on some of that, Jay, but to me, these conversations have already had to be had. Eric, I got to get to your comment about what Brandon Drum said.
What'd you say?
I said Brandon Drum. I slipped.
Oh, okay.
Which was BV's angry now. Here's the only thing. It's hard if that's not your MO. It's hard to just change who you are, and to hear that. Like to me, if that's not who you are, and I get. Well, I would think that look. Hey, I know you're laughing. Corrections. I'm not. That is not what I meant by any means or any stretch.
Yeah,
okay?
We know. Hey.
But I'm saying what I do mean though, and I am 100% factual on. You don't just change who you are overnight. Now, hopefully things have happened that have made him more upset. But to just say I'm going to go change everything that I've ever done, you always will revert back to who you are when it gets down into the nitty gritty. That's what will happen until that new style just totally takes over. But
yeah, hey Greg, you're on the line. What's up, Greg?
So we talk about this not being a very good portal class for some positions, and I would agree with you. And people who are good with their money don't buy things just because they're on sale. If the right player isn't out there, even at a thin position, don't spend the money. Use that money somewhere else to keep current players and develop them. There's no reason to go out here and buy these players who are cheap and really aren't the guy OU needs. Save that money for something else.
I agree. I think that's a good point, Greg.
Because Greg, R. Mason Thomas, guys who are potentially going to enter the draft, you've got to say, hey, you can enter the draft, but here's what we will give you to stay. And you have more money maybe when you're not. I mean, there are some guys, Greg, that you need, that they fit a puzzle. It's a piece of the puzzle that you need.
I would agree with that.
But then there's other guys that are pointless to have on there.
I mean, and I wish these players were out there. Like, we could use another tight end, but if the guy isn't out there, spend the money on someone else. We got develop Devon Mitchell, and we need money elsewhere. Don't be filling the roster with pieces that aren't going to really move the needle here. Just my thought.
Yeah,
great point. Greg.
That's a great point, Greg. Man,
hey, Jeremy. Another thing is this, like.
Great
that's
point.
why high school recruiting is the number one reason why you're going to win championships. I know people love what Ole Miss is doing in the portal. I will never pick them to make a playoff until they make a playoff, because I know they're doing great things in the portal. They're getting everybody that hits the portal, but at some point you got to recruit high school really good, and they haven't done that well.
You got to do both, Jay. You got to knock it on the park with both. I got to get to something what Tone Loc 90210 said. Kind of like Beverly Hills 90210, Tone Loc 90210. You're right. And what I said earlier kind of addresses this in a sense. BV, defensive coordinator, had nasty in him. He had the get-back coach. The fact of the matter is, in my opinion, he's changed a little bit as he is now a head coach. And look, I think we've all been in jobs where we take another position and we feel like maybe we can't be the guy we've always been, either because of responsibility or because of who we are evaluating or because of what attention is on us. Do you agree with that, guys? Because I honestly think that BV has toned down some things, partly because that's what's expected as a head coach. So I'm just curious what people think on that. That'd be good to hear. Bob Stoops was the defensive coach, and he could recruit for offense. Actually, Bob Stoops was a defensive coach, and he made a great hire with Mike Leach, and Mike Leach really recruited. I mean, guys, Mike Leach brought in Josh Heupel. That just is a fact. That was kind of the turning point. And some of those guys, Hunter, the 2000 year, they hit the JUCO ranks hard.
Big time.
And it all fell into place for 1 year.
Yes, it was about as storybook as it could go, with everyone they brought in hit, and just that staff as a whole, year two there, all of that. I mean, like Josh Heupel came from JUCO. I mean, other guys Brent Venables talked about it. He didn't even want Josh Heupel. If it was up to him, they were going after other JUCO guys as well if they would have not gotten Heupel. So, and again, I think the times there are a lot different. Like, JUCO was the primary rank at that point in time. There was no transfer portal in the way that things are.
Did not exist.
Yeah, like it wasn't there, and you would see teams use JUCO similar to high school recruiting. Like, there and even still today, if you pay attention on 247, I mean, JUCO is kind of included in just the regular recruiting part of it. It's separated, but if you're going just by recruit rankings versus transfer, the JUCO guys are in the recruit rankings, unless they changed that. Could be wrong.
What is the score now? Did they score again? Go 27?
Yeah, 27-17. They did not get the onside kick.
There was only a minute something left.
Yeah, it's 24 seconds over. Notre Dame is going to take a knee. Field storming, Germ, yay or nay in a playoff game?
A national championship game, but you're not going to field storm because you don't have the whole home crowd. Now,
Well,
here's what I would say: would I storm the playoff? Would I storm it if it's my team's first ever playoff win? It's historic. Storm it. It's a historic moment, correct?
Correct.
So there you go. Kenneth says you've got to get more high school players with specialized port. Yeah, I think the key word, Kenneth, specialized. To me, it's not even about who it's got to be the right guy in the right position. And like Greg said, if I know, look, these guys have evaluated the players on campus. If they look at an evaluation and say, guys, this guy is not going to be better than Devon Mitchell or Caden Helms, then don't go get him. If you watch his tape and say, this guy will not be as good as Devon Mitchell or Caden Helms, then don't go get him.
But you need depth. You got
depth. 4 guys.
Like right now, you have
it's a waste.
You have 4. One of them being, you look at Trinae Washington. Let me pull up.
And Jared Canick, Jared Canick, Ivan Karen. If I had to, I'm not going to go 4 deep.
So wait, so you're saying
to bring in another tight end?
You say don't go get somebody.
Unless they're better than Devon Mitchell and Caden Helms group.
Trinae Washington's only 195 pounds. So you're saying that they should not go get somebody else just to have a body.
No, you don't.
They should.
Hey, Germ, listen real quick.
Not at that position.
Jeremy, listen.
Take a guy and change his position. That would be better off, Germ.
Germ, can you hear me? I got to say something. Hey, Germ, what's to say that Caden Helms and Devon Mitchell just in 2 weeks say I'm out of here?
It could happen, yeah.
Well,
so
I
got to get guys.
Happen.
Okay, I get it, but I'm just saying you got to have depth at every position with the portal. You have to.
There are positions you need depth, and then there's a position that you don't. And in my opinion, I don't need 3 or 4 kickers. I don't need 5 tight ends. OU's not playing 3 tight end sets. They're not. How many times this year did they play anyone more than Bauer Sharp or Jake Roberts?
Jeremy, who was calling the plays this year?
Yeah.
Arbuckle will run whatever with personnel he has. If he has good tight ends, he'll run multiple.
I promise you, Ben Arbuckle's not watching film and saying, you know what, this tight end, let's go get him. We need a 5th stringer. Let's pay him. Let's get this 5th stringer in here.
Well,
who's the 1st stringer right now, Germ?
Devon Mitchell.
He hasn't played it down.
I don't give a rip.
I love his potential, Germ, but he hasn't played a snap.
I'm so confused right now. A guy that has not played, you're saying is the 1st stringer right now. Take it to the bank.
Hunter, did you hear what I said? Jay, did you hear what I said? Unless you think someone's better than the guys you got, there's no reason to get him. Bobby, if they think the Pitt State guy is better than Devon Mitchell and Caden Helms, your top 2 guys, then absolutely you offer him. Absolutely. But if you don't think he's better, if he's just going to be the 5th string tight end, you do not make an offer to some guy like that.
Well, I can say pretty confidently they do not think a tight end from Pitt State is better than a former 5-star and 4-star who reclassified, and also not better than 2 other former 4-stars. I think that's a pretty safe statement to make, Germ.
So you're saying they offered the Pitt State guy or Carson Kent
for depth, correct?
I totally disagree with that.
Cool.
Then why did they offer him, Germ?
Like, come
If
on.
they offered them, I think they really think that they need a starting tight end right now. They don't.
Oh,
think that Devon Mitchell-
Germ, this is, I don't know where this is coming from. This is baffling.
baffling.
Yeah.
You think the Pitt State tight end or the other tight end they offer, they're offering to be the starter?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
What you yourself just said? What do you mean Devon Mitchell hadn't even played the game? You said, Jerm, how can you be high on Devon Mitchell? He hasn't played the game. And then when I say, well, they probably offered this guy to be the starter, you say, well, why would they do that? There's no way.
Because listen,
What?
Jeremy, they don't make any offers to come. This is not come in and start. This is offers for depth. They need to. If the guy wins the job, so be it. But they're not offering him to say, "Here, you're going to be the guy."
Jason, you don't offer guys say, we're giving you this for depth. But if you win the job, I am right, Chuck. I'm absolutely right on this.
Where's your "I was wrong" sign? Show it to me right now.
I don't need to show it.
We need to
Give me
see.
5 minutes. I'll
I
make
need to
another
see
one
it.
for you.
I need to see it. Dig it out of your floorboard. I want to see it right now.
Give me
Hold
a
it up
second.
for
I'll
me.
find it. I'll find it.
Yeah, hold it up for me. Hold it up for me. Yeah. He can't find it. He probably threw it away because he probably walks around the house all day with it in front of.
I wonder if his wife has found out about that sign yet. Jay.
Oh, she probably has, Hunter. Probably has, and probably plastered it somewhere on the wall for him. I don't know where he went to find it. I thought it was right there in the room where he puts it up every day.
Thrown it away.
Hey, Michael says we need some Jeremy's right sign. Michael, if I had to bet, knowing Jeremy, I lived with him for 28 years. He's changing his sign. He's changing the sign right now to "I was right." If I had to guess.
Wait, 90s OU. How much did Washington State use a fullback? I don't recall them using a lot of fullbacks.
Hunter, did you watch Arbuckle today about it?
I haven't. I was out work all day and then watched Indiana.
He talked a little bit about it. Joe Castiglio Jr. said you use the H-back quite. He goes, I really use with what personnel I have. He said sometimes I'll line him up in the backfield just to even throw the defense off. Sometimes I line him up out wide. It just kind of depends. So he kind of moves them all around.
Who?
Arbuckle.
I like it.
I do too. Did you get it, Jerm?
Yeah.
What is this?
Jay was wrong.
Hey, did I call it? Did I say he was changing
wrong.
this? Hey, I lived with you for 28 years. I knew you were changing the sign. I knew you were changing the sign. Jeez.
Bob, that's what I was going off of. Is when Jamie Vinnick was
did.
on, he was talking about how little they used the fullback. So I don't know.
Hunter, he laughed when I asked the question.
Yeah, and I know kind of. I mean, again, Ben Arbuckle's only been in Norman now for what 2.5 weeks. He has only spoken now twice publicly, and in everything he has said, I mean, from his announcement, Zach Schmidt is gone. He's out of eligibility. So kicker might be another position Oklahoma goes after.
Oh my! What?
I can't even do this right now, Jeremy. I can't. Like
Hunter, they brought it. How many kickers do they have?
Well, last year they had. I mean, let me look at the exact number.
Liam Evans,
Tyler Keltner, Zach Schmidt. That was 3 right there. Evans never played. They played 2 for most of the year. They're going to probably have at least 2, if not 3.
You can't have more than 3.
No, in 3 is probably pushing it when you have a 105 limit. This hard limit is going to change a lot of things. And back to
Hunter,
what but before I forget what I was saying, back to Ben Arbuckle, very limited times that he has spoken, put it out a public statement at all, but it seems like the 3 times from Scoop to the coach's show for signing class to the press announcement of his hire at OU, he's talked about he builds everything based off of what he has available personnel wise. So
yeah, hey, you're right about that. Hey, real quick though. The kicker, I think Zach said it in here. Western Kentucky guy's a big possibility, and he was really good. He was really good. That's a possibility. I heard that too on the radio this morning.
Hey,
So
listen, and guys, hey, we got breaking news. I'm getting ready right now, 45 minutes into this thing to give you some big time insight. So if you're a fantasy football owner, you need to stop what you're doing. Go get your big chief tablet notebook with your big pencil and write this down.
what are you doing, man?
write what down?
I'm getting ready to tell you, but I'm getting interrupted.
I'm
Jay,
ready. Let's hear. Yeah.
I don't ever draft kickers very high, and you know how many kickers I have on my fantasy team, Hunter? How many kickers and tight end do I have on my fantasy team?
One.
And when they're on bye week, I get a different one. I waive the kicker, I waive the tight end, I go get a different one.
This isn't fantasy football. This isn't fantasy football.
And it's not the NFL, dude, where you can just change your rosters whenever you please. Like,
my point being, Hunter, they don't need more than 3 kickers, and they don't need more than 4 tight ends.
I don't think they're going to go more than 2, honestly.
What about tight ends? Number. Give me a number.
Hey, Jerem, I agree with what Greg said when he called in about the overpay.
Wait, did you say 4 tops at tight end?
No, I said 4 to 5. And I'm not looking at Trinae Washington right now, especially as a freshman, a true freshman, as a tight end that really counts to that number. He has to put on weight. He's at 195 pounds right now. That cannot play tight end in any power conference, especially not the SEC. So if the injury bug were to strike again for Oklahoma at a specific position group, they would be in a lot of trouble if their only option is Trinae Washington, because at that point you have no size. The blocking is probably not going to be good, and the strength isn't there. So yes, I think they're going to go with 5 because you're factoring in that. And I mean, Trinae can also play safety. He can play wide receiver. So, I mean, tight end is kind of a thrown thing, I would say, of them missing on Nate Roberts.
Yeah, I
class. That's kind of what pushed him to, okay, he's going to play tight end. It's going to take time to develop him for him to be able to actually play.
Hey, real quick, I got to say something. Eric.
Perfect.
Eric, that's you can't talk about a guy that lost to he's not the only one on the team belt buckle. He's got defense too, bud. And go look at Lincoln Riley. Somebody said it in the chat. He lost plenty of games at East Carolina and scored 10 points. You can't, if you want to compare him, you can compare him. Go look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban at Michigan State didn't win a whole lot, did he? He lost some bad teams. Let's just not go down that road. I think that's a bad comparison.
I mean, I don't know.
He's got to prove it.
Greg, I don't know. I mean, do you offer the long snapper?
I'm so sick of this, Jeremy. They have a long snapper. It's Ben Anderson. He was all SEC, by the way, 3rd team. Like, the whole thing is because I said that they should go get a kicker. They have 1 kicker right now on the roster.
I realized that. I thought they had 2, Hunter.
No, there's a reason why they're sending out offers right now at kicker. I mean,
you got to have another kicker if you have 1. Yes.
Hey, real quick, guys. Real quick. Bobby says, I would love to see Devon and Ivan as my 1 and 2. I would like it too. I'm not saying that'd be great. I'm just saying neither one of them have played, though. That's all I'm saying. I would love that to pan out. I think it'd be awesome. They just haven't played yet.
With, like, Ivan Carry-On was another guy I talked of maybe going to tight end. Weight is going to be the issue there. I mean, you cannot have guys like Trinae Washington, like Ivan Carry-On playing tight end in the SEC, and they have the build of a wide receiver.
Hunter, I think we're in agreement. And I would like to see what the chat thinks. Just put 2 numbers right now. 2 numbers in the chat. This is for Selene. She asked for a poll. This isn't a poll, but 2 numbers in the chat. The 2 numbers in this order. The number of tight ends you want on OU's roster and the number of kicker. I think Hunter and I are in agreement. Mine's 4 and 3 at the most. 4 and 2 would be ideal, but
I can't do 2 different polls.
I didn't say a poll. I just want people in the comment to put the 2 numbers.
Oh,
Tight ends, kickers. How many you want on the roster? Bobby's with me, 4 and 2.
Greg, if Oklahoma needs more wide receivers, yes, they need at least one more. I think they're going to try to break even in terms of portal and recruiting class as what they lost through the portal this year.
So,
Jerm,
Hunter,
I'm with you on
everyone's saying I'm
kickers.
crazy for my take. Everyone's agreeing on here. I
No,
don't know how that was a horrible take that I said.
whatever.
Hey, back to something. I got a trivia question. Somebody had asked for a trivia question. I got one. Okay. Before I ask it though, check out the FanStop, www.thefanstop.com. Use code Surge, get 10% off your first 3 months. Here we go for the trivia. Tell me the last year Notre Dame played a home game not on NBC.
That was the exact trivia I was going to come up with, Jay.
You got to go
Really?
way back.
Because I saw
Last Notre Dame home game not on NBC. What year? Boom. Very quickly, Michael Neal, 1990. 1990. There we go.
Not
Good job, Michael.
1901. Not 1901, Daniel.
Hey, Jerem, I'm in agreement with you on the depth piece as far as how many you want. I understand kickers. Yeah, I wouldn't want more than 2. I'd rather have other positions that you have extra guys in. I understand that. I'm not arguing that.
Part of this is just, I think, a little from my end, a little stemming on frustration with just some of what we've seen in the tight end room. Honestly, that's probably what some of this is. The tight end room, this was tight end U, this was H-back U, period. That's what OU was, guys. Tight end U, H-back U, QB U, all of them. Tight ends have not been good, and H-backs are non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at next year going in the year, I think a couple positions, they have to be so much better than last year. One of them has to be quarterback. Arbuckle said it today. Everything starts with your quarterback, all of it. So your quarterback has to be really good. And then I think if you look at last year with what they had offensively, a lot of it, quarterback and O-line was, other than, I mean, let's throw the coaching out on offense because that was horrible. But on the offensive side ball, other than the coaching, it was quarterback and O-line. The wide receiver, I mean, you can blame it, but at some point, it's like they didn't get a whole lot of chances. I mean, let's be honest. You'd have a guy running down the sideline, the ball be 10 yards out of bounds. Not even a chance to catch it.
Hunter, you follow recruiting much more than I do. Is there a guy, and I know I mentioned this earlier, and it was like, why are we talking about a guy switching positions? I mean, it happens some, but I think OU's got a couple guys that are young that play tight end in high school along with defense. Is Taylor Wine one of them?
I believe Taylor Wine played a little bit.
Shield Knight.
Getting some kind of bond, I'm saying.
And Marcus James also. But
Shield Knight.
That's what I'm saying for
he's
depth.
a full linebacker for this 2025 class, and I think they're going to want to keep him there.
Agreed.
If something were to go down.
If they're decimated by injuries.
Well, not even as much of injuries as, I mean, looking at the future of guys, portal, all that, or leave earlier than expected for the draft or whatever it could be. When you only have one in that class, you're going to want him getting reps and ready. I don't think Alexander Shield Knight would.
He played tight end at Wagner.
Yes, I know he did, and I don't think Miguel Chavis.
Hey, I got a name for you though. I got a name at H-back would be Andy Bass.
I mean, that's a lot of people talked about that before. Yeah, I think there's got to be some sort of role for Andy in the future. And yes, Alexander Shield Knight has been out for the remainder of the season for a few weeks now with an injury.
Yeah. Canick is the one I've mentioned before, but I mean, to me,
with Jaron Kanek, I know a lot of people talk about that. Is okay. It's now year 4 for him. It's been 3 years of him trying to learn this linebacker thing. Hasn't really worked. So with only 1 year of eligibility, you think it's a good idea to just move him
No,
to
Hunter.
a position he hasn't really played again? Like,
No, I think, Hunter, it would be like if they got in a bind. Let's say they have 4 guys and they got in a bind with 2 guys going down. I think they would make a move to someone.
Kelly Gregg, Lane, how to answer it for you.
Hey, Hunter, did you answer the Des Malone question?
Yeah, I was going to get to that. So I think it was last night, me and Bobby were talking about this in the chat. From what I could gather, he has 1 more year left after this year. I'm not sure how, looking through everything of how many games he has played over his career in each year, but I believe he has 1 more year, but he was, unless I am mistaken, was not on the depth chart for Oklahoma. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there's an answer.
Liam Evans is still on the team. He's the only kicker.
Yeah, hey, I gotta say something. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the comments here about I think maybe Michael and Eric are going back and forth about Arbuckle. Eric, I would love to know your opinion on how many points a game do you think Arbuckle's not going to be good at Oklahoma? I would bet you pretty good money that the offense is going to be pretty good at Oklahoma. Now, we'll see if it equals wins. I think they're going to average at least 30 points next year. I mean, I don't think that's a stretch. The other thing is this. Sitting here talking about there weren't any real candidates or whatever. Arbuckle was highly regarded, and I know Eric, the guy you're really high on, just threw a 10-point game out against Michigan and Chip Kelly at Ohio State. Really great performance by him at Ohio State the last game of the year.
Jay,
So, I mean,
turn that camera off. Jay comes with stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, hey, he's a highly regarded offensive mind. Will it pan out at Oklahoma? We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think anybody can say it's not going to work for sure. I mean, nobody can say that. I think he's a pretty good offensive mind.
Well, again, Jay, there's a lot of candidates. I mean, I was high on Cade Bell. He threw about 3 games in a row that were trash. Mike Shanahan hasn't done great.
Brennan Marion now.
Brennan Marion went, no.
Well, it's not necessarily way down, Jerm.
No, I'm just about the talk has just dwindled about everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it absolutely has. Everyone thought he was going to be the next major coordinator hire for some major college football program. So, yeah, and Mez, on back to the Des Malone stuff. I don't know. I read multiple articles that said he has 2 years left. I'm not sure how he would. I do not have an answer for you on that. I'm confused just as much as you are, just going off of articles that I've read.
Hey, here's another one. Someone mentioned UCLA. Hey, I got a name for you. I thought Eric Bieniemy was one of the best coordinators ever. What happened?
No, Jerm, he went to there to help his friend Foster. They're like really good buddies, and then he wanted to go back to the NFL. It was like a 1 year. It was going to be a 1 year deal anyway.
My point was UCLA wasn't killing it offensively. That's my point.
I agree.
He was supposed to be one of the best minds out there, Jay.
Hey, listen, Eric. I'm not going to sit here and argue about teams when Belt Buckle was at Washington State or Houston Baptist. I'm not going to do it. I think he can coach offense, okay? I'll say it. I think he's a good offensive coach. He's proven he can develop quarterbacks. I'll wait and see what he does at Oklahoma, Eric. I don't know. This is December 20th. He's been there 2 weeks. I'm going to give him a chance, Eric.
And I think people are starting to attack personal attacks.
There's no reason to bring up ACT scores. Like, I'm not sure what an ACT score has to do with an opinion on college football. Like, come on.
We don't need to go there. Selene, appreciate the compliment. You rock as well. Thanks for being here every single night. Chuck says, Jeremy, you still have to have the right people, NFL or not. Yeah, you got to have the right people. You got to have the right people on the bus, and they have to be on the right seat in the bus. And it's clear. It's clear. It's an argument that can be had. Should BV be driving the bus? Should certain guys be on the bus or in the right seat or in the right position, all those things. I mean, that's what you got to wait and see on some of this.
Hey, Greg's comment is pretty hilarious. I got to admit, that's pretty good, Greg. You came up with that one pretty quick. Hey, here's what I'm going to say. I'll say this as my last thing of the night. I'll say this. I have no clue on who Oklahoma got out of the portal, if they're going to be really good players, if they're going to be not so good players. I don't know. I don't know. I think Ben Arbuck will be a really good offensive coach. I think John Mateer will be pretty dang good quarterback. I'm just going to say I'm giving all these guys a chance. That's all. I'm not predicting any 9-3, 10-2 record right now. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to give guys a chance. And I don't care what they did at Houston Baptist. I don't care what they did at Washington State. I just care what they do at Oklahoma next year. And we'll see. I don't know.
I agree. And before we close this, I got to say, yeah, no one needs to call anyone ignorant. No one needs to call anyone a clown. No one needs to bring up ACT scores, any of that. All of it. If we're talking about we're talking football here. So, hey, thanks everyone for being on here tonight. We appreciate it. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the callers. Fun chat tonight. We'll do this again tomorrow night. Should be back on at 9:30, although you have the Tennessee-Ohio State game, so stay tuned. I know we want to try to stick to that 9:30 timeline, but it's also getting close to holidays and things like that. But make sure you subscribe to our channel so you know when we're coming on. We appreciate you all. Hit the like before you leave. We'll see you next time.